Tonight, the worldwide food crisis. America's poor struggle to pay higher and higher prices, while around the globe, shortages have the hungry lining up for any food they can get. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, a tough day for Hillary Clinton. She loses a superdelegate and her voice.
My voice is getting a little bit raspy.
And teaching kids the financial facts of life to avoid the mistakes some of their parents make.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. So does this sound familiar? You put just a few items on the conveyor belt at the supermarket checkout and your eyes pop out when you see how much it costs. The government reported today that consumer spending in March shot up twice as much as economists were expecting. And it's not because we're buying more, it's because the prices are so much higher, especially food. So far this year, food prices are rising at an annual rate of more than 5%. Worldwide, it's a lot worse. On average, food is up 45% just since last summer. Today, President Bush called on Congress to approve more than $750 million in new aid to help feed the world's hungry.
We're sending a clear message to the world that America will lead the fight against hunger for years to come. Here at home, we're working to ensure that our poorest citizens get the food they need.
We have two reports tonight on soaring food prices, beginning here in this country with Mark Strassman.
Deep inside America's middle class, food prices now pinch a painful nerve.
The rising prices have changed your whole shopping approach.
Absolutely.
Rich Stumpf now buys food in bulk at Costco, the warehouse retailer, where the average customer's annual income is $75,000. The store's food sales nationwide have spiked almost 20%, thanks to stockpilers like Stumpf.
This would last me 6 months, but now I'm gonna, I bought two.
Got the second one here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're good for a year.
Oh, absolutely.
Just in the last year, prices of America's food staples have skyrocketed. Flour, now 49 cents a pound, is up 36%. Eggs at $2.20 a dozen, up 35%. Milk, $3.78 a gallon, up 23%. And pasta at $1.08 a pound, up 19%. Fruits and vegetables are also up double digits.
Price of food at retail and at producer level is inflating at a rate we haven't really seen since the 70s.
In San Antonio, what was Ross Powell's garage is now part pantry, part freezer.
So as before, they would have said, he's a loon. Now they're saying, no, instead of the crazy uncle, I'm the smart uncle now.
Rich Stumpf spent a small fortune, but saved abundant.
You spent $357 for food.
Right.
And you're actually happy.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, it's amazing.
More people see another savings to buying in bulk. They make fewer car trips for groceries, so they spend less money at the pump. Katie?
Mark Strassman in Atlanta tonight. Mark, thank you. As tough as it is here, America's food problems pale in comparison to other parts of the world. While U.S. prices are rising, we still have plenty of food, but that is not the case overseas. The UN estimates 37 countries face a food crisis and the possibility of serious social unrest because of food shortages. Mark Phillips now with this report from Cairo, Egypt.
If there's an early warning alarm for the consequences of the great food crisis of 2008, the desperate breadlines of Cairo may be it. Here, every day is a scramble for the cheap government-subsidized loaves that can be the difference between eating or starving for the country's poor, which in Egypt is roughly half the country.
How much? How many piastres?
5 Egyptian piastres, about 1 cent a loaf. For the 40 million people who live on around $2 a day here, this cheap bread has become even more crucial as other foodstuffs have become more expensive.
There is very special relationship between the Egyptian and the bread. Even we call it aish. Aish is life.
And life has become a lot more difficult as the world price of flour has almost doubled. In a country that has to import more than half the wheat it needs, flour has started to look like gold dust. The subsidized loaves have become scarcer, the lines have become longer.
A big problem is that flour has become so expensive it's more valuable as a commodity than it is as a food source. It's a lot more profitable to sell the flour out the back door of this bakery onto the black market than it is to bake it into bread and sell it out the front door to these people.
There have been strikes, riots, and several deaths. The threat of civil unrest has become real. The government has had to bring in the army to bake and distribute more bread, and now it's had to raise wages.
It's very good.
There's always been an unwritten deal in Egypt that the poor, while they may stay poor, will always be fed. If that deal breaks down, one of the pillars of stability in the Middle East, one of the bulwarks against extremism, starts to look a lot less stable.
It is like the match beside a barrel of oil.
And as this food crisis deepens, that match is being lit and moving ever closer to that oil. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Cairo.
Turning now to the never-ending presidential campaign. With just 5 days until the next primaries, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are working nonstop for every single delegate. And Senator Clinton's uphill battle got a bit tougher today. Here's Jim Axelrod in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Hillary Clinton's string of 18-hour days here in Indiana is taking its toll.
My voice is getting a little bit raspy, so I'm going to take a little break and let her describe it. Wow.
Passing the microphone to her daughter today.
So if you do like your health insurance, you can keep it.
The delegate count won't make Clinton feel any better. Obama is now within 300 of what he needs. Even if they split the delegates up for grabs in the 9 remaining primaries, she still needs to convince 80% of the uncommitted superdelegates to come with her.
I'm changing my support from Senator Clinton to Senator Obama.
And the math just got tougher with Superdelegate Joe Andrews' declaration here. He's from Indiana, a former National Democratic chairman.
We are the party of President Bill Clinton.
Installed by Bill Clinton, no less, who's now for Obama.
Let's close this process down. Let's come around a candidate.
Thank you. Clinton's aides say her best bet is for Obama's recent rough patch to create buyer's remorse for superdelegates already committed to him. They point to polls that show Clinton running stronger head-to-head against John McCain than Obama does in critical swing states like Florida, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Early voting has already doubled the previous record here. It's been heaviest in big cities, college towns, and northwest Indiana near Chicago, all thought to be big areas for Barack Obama. Katie?
And Jim, what did the Clinton camp have to say about the defection of that superdelegate Joe Andrews?
Well, publicly they tried to just shrug it off, but you're right, Katie. It's not just an uncommitted superdelegate making up his mind. It's a defection. They reacted by rolling out 5 superdelegate endorsements of their own. Katie.
And Jim, of the 283 superdelegates who are uncommitted, they really aren't undecided, are they?
A good point. There's a difference between publicly uncommitted and undecided. And as we saw today, in this battle between the campaigns to create a sense of momentum, both campaigns will peg publicly uncommitted superdelegates to publicly commit.
And with so much focus on Indiana right now, what's going on in North Carolina, Jim?
Well, what was a couple weeks ago a double-digit lead for Barack Obama is now single digits. Clinton campaign likes what it sees, but there is no one inside the campaign who thinks they can win North Carolina. That's why it's all going to come down next Tuesday night to right here in Indiana.
All right, Jim Axelrod. Jim, thank you. Meanwhile, across the country today, for the 3rd year in a row, thousands rallied to demand changes in immigration laws. But this being an election year, the protesters have more at stake. They're hoping they'll have some pull at the polls. Here's Sandra Hughes.
The annual rallies are supposed to show America that immigrants have a loud and powerful voice. But from Chicago to Detroit all the way to Los Angeles, the rallies have been much smaller than 2 years ago when 1 million people marched nationwide. One reason, say many, is fear. The feds have stepped up raids and deportations, almost 5,000 workplace arrests last year, 4 times as many as 2005.
Immigration and customs enforcement officials are targeting legitimate businesses who provide their employees with living wages.
Diego Hanakua wouldn't be intimidated into staying home. The college student marched with his friends, some illegal, toward downtown Los Angeles. Diego's not yet a citizen. Still, he was behind a campus voter registration drive.
It all comes down to it is the educated voters that are going to make the decisions in our country.
For 2 years, they've been marching toward this election. But now there isn't one candidate talking immigration reform. All three presidential candidates supported the same immigration reform plan that died in Congress, and all three support a border fence. The challenge for these marchers now, recent polls indicate far more Americans are concerned about the economy and jobs than immigration reform. Katie?
Sandra Hughes in Los Angeles tonight. There is much more CBS News ahead, including some thoughts for their pennies, teaching kids to manage money. But up next, we'll take you to the new front in the war on terror. Score one for the United States in the war on terror. One of al-Qaeda's top operatives in Africa, Aden Hashi Ayaru, was killed overnight when American missiles wiped out his compound in Somalia. Several other terror suspects were also killed. Al-Qaeda is looking to become a dominant force in Africa, and the U.S. military is doing everything it can to prevent that. Alan Pizzi reports from Uganda.
Ugandan soldiers advance towards a suspicious bunker. Suddenly, they come under fire. For many of the young soldiers, it's the first time they have worked together.
Put 2 rounds in them. Bang, bang. Bang, bang.
This time, the rounds are blanks, but they won't always be. American soldiers are training the Ugandans to combat terrorism, preparing them to go to Somalia to fight Islamic insurgents so the U.S. doesn't have to.
If we help this country to stabilize now, we teach them how to combat extremism and terrorism now, we won't have to worry about a further escalation of problem in the future.
Al-Qaeda and other militants have expanded their operations to Africa. Across the top of the entire continent, rebel groups and discontented youth make ideal recruits. The situation made all the more dangerous by growing American dependence on African oil. It's something the U.S. cannot ignore.
You don't even have to go back as far as Afghanistan to see what ungoverned spaces left alone can have an effect on the United States.
The American counterpunch is a new military command called AFRICOM. The man in charge is 4-star General William Ward.
Thank you for being out here to see me this morning.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
He has been crisscrossing Africa, trying to convince skeptical Africans that Washington wants partners, not new military bases. It's been a tough sell.
Africa Command has been created to recognize the nations of Africa who want to partner with us.
The hardest job facing AFRICOM is image making. In the words of a senior U.S. official, it's open season on American foreign policy. We have to convince people this is not some diabolical George Bush plot. And this is how they're doing it. At a remote camp, General Ward watches American soldiers vaccinating cattle, a month-long project to help farmers displaced by a vicious civil war rebuild their lives.
When our uniformed folks are working with the uniformed folks of these nations, the people can also see that their militaries are here trying to help them as opposed to not. And those are all very good messages.
That's soft power at work.
For AFRICOM to succeed, the general has to spend as much time being a diplomat as a soldier. If he does it well enough, the enemy gathering in Africa won't be America's alone. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Kasenyi, Uganda.
In Iraq, 2 American soldiers were killed last night when their heavily armored MRAP vehicle was attacked. MRAP is short for Mine-Resistant Ambush Protected, and this is the first time a bomb has penetrated and killed Americans riding in one. It was friendly fire that killed Pat Tillman in Afghanistan, the NFL star turned Army Ranger, but the military initially told his family he had been killed by the enemy. 4 years later, his mother, Mary, believes the government still isn't telling everything it knows about her son's death. And what about for you, the notion that his own brothers were firing on him?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's hard to take. You know, when we heard it was a friendly fire, I felt terrible for these soldiers. We didn't go into immediate, you know, oh, these awful men, they need to be punished. I felt terrible for these young men. And I still do, to a degree, but I don't think it was the horrible accident that they like to play this out. I think there was huge negligence involved here.
You can see my entire interview with Mary Tillman this Sunday on 60 Minutes. We have an update tonight on an Army medic who was awarded the Silver Star. 18-year-old Monica Brown risked her life treating 5 wounded members of her unit in Afghanistan. But women are barred from units that engage in direct combat, and it now turns out that just days after her heroic act, Specialist Brown was pulled back to a safer unit. When we come back, change in a land where time stood still. The new Cuba under Raul Castro. In much of the world, May 1st is a day for parades honoring workers, but in Hamburg, Germany today, anti-capitalist protesters clashed with police and set cars on fire. In Turkey, the police used water cannon on anti-government protesters. It was a lot more peaceful, though, in Cuba, where May Day celebrates the communist government. There's a new leader there now, and for the first time in decades, a hint of change. Elizabeth Palmer is in Havana tonight.
The party atmosphere hasn't changed much, nor have the slogans, but Cuba has. Its revolutionary hero, now 81 and very ill, is only present on the May Day banners. It's his younger brother, Raul Castro, who's here in person as Cuba's new president.
The May Day March still looks impressive, but in fact it's just a shadow of what it was during Fidel's time, with less revolutionary hoopla and only half as many marchers. It's another sign that the page has definitely turned here, and Raul Castro is now in charge.
And he's got a pressing agenda, giving Cubans better lives before they give up on him and the socialist government. For the elderly, Raul's raised pensions. For commuters, he's replaced decrepit public transport with shiny new Chinese buses. And for the young, he's lifted a ban on cell phones. But the most profound changes are taking place in the countryside. Eduardo Diaz farms cows for meat and milk. Under Raul's new rules, Diaz will be paid more for both and get more land if he wants to expand.
Do you see some people getting richer now?
If I work harder, he answers, it's logical that I'm allowed to make more money, isn't it? Well, no, not under Fidel's brand of socialist agriculture, it wasn't. But that inefficient system left Cuba importing 80% of its food. Now, rising food prices have forced Raul to expand private enterprise on the land to boost production.
Now, a lot of the young Cubans marching in the May Day parade would really like to see even more private enterprise as a way to better jobs. But as far as the U.S. is concerned, as long as Raul is just liberalizing the economy and not making fundamental political reforms, there's little chance of any real improvement of relations anytime soon. Katie?
Elizabeth Palmer in Havana tonight. Liz, thank you. Coming up next, a new course for grade schoolers, fiscal fitness. Finally tonight, what they didn't teach us in grade school, we learned how to add and subtract, but not how to multiply our money. It's more important than ever, and schools are catching on, as Cynthia Bowers reports in our series, Life and Debt in America.
Let's find out what it does.
It looks like just another morning in Mrs. Peterson's second grade classroom. Except the topic today for the Chicago area kids isn't the 3 R's, it's the bottom line.
How do you save money?
It's part of a project the Naperville School District bought into a few years back, teaching kids as young as 8 the nuts and bolts of money management.
When you set a goal for the money that you're saving.
Susan Beecham designed the program and this unusual piggy bank at its center.
What's different about that piggy bank, Alex?
It has save, spend, donate, and invest all in slots.
The goal? To have kids learn a lesson many parents never did. To make smart choices with money.
Do American kids get enough education about money?
Oh, absolutely not. Money's like sex. Nobody wants to talk about it. It's personal. It's our responsibility. We all have to take personal responsibility for what we know and what we don't know about money.
Which is what you're teaching the kids?
Absolutely.
In a country where people save less than half a penny of every dollar they make, compared to more than 10 cents in Germany, nearly 13 in France, only 6 states currently require financial education classes. And that's a big concern to the highest leaders of high finance.
The financial preparedness of our nation's youth is essential to their well-being and of vital importance to our economic future.
Your turn.
Tom and Mindy McCauley are teaching son Drew to fight off the urge for instant gratification, but realize it's tough in a culture where kids are targeted by ads everywhere they look.
We just keep getting fed the messages of you need this and you need this now, and if you don't have it, you are not successful.
Back in Drew's class, it looks like learning early about money is paying off.
Every month, my mom gives me $10.
So what are you going to do with that $10 now?
I think I'm going to save it.
Give that girl an A. Cynthia Bowers, CBS News, Naperville, Illinois.
And that is the CBS Evening News. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.